everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm here today to do week 2 of 2022 weekly wrap up. I read a total of I wrote it down. I wrote yep, 6 books and 2,519 pages. Um so yeah. Um let's get started. The first one well, not really the first one, but the one I read, newest release, is Juniper Hill by Devney. This is the second book in the Eden series, Small Town Montana series. This follows Memphis, who has a 4-week-old son. I'm pretty sure he's 4 weeks. He's a newborn, and she decides to leave New York City after her dad disowns her and fires her from her job. And she moves to Eden's, a small town in Montana, and she works as a maid at the hotel. And she moves in with Knox in his little guest house, and it's their story. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. This came out on the 11th, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, and that was the 5th book that I bought in 2022 that I've read. So that's exciting. And then I read Trust Me by Lacey Black. This is book 1 in the River Edge series. This is a brother's best friend romance. This follows Avery and Maddox. Avery is a single mom, and she's had a crush on Maddox for a long, long time. And then, but she was always his best friend's little sister. And then she comes home, and he starts seeing her differently. It's their story. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. And then I read Lucky Leap Day by Anne Marie Walker. I got an art copy of the audio book from Nigella. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It actually comes out today, the 18th. And it was the 6th audiobook I have listened to this year. This follows Kara and Finn. Kara goes, she recently just broke up with her boyfriend, and she has a work conference in Dublin, Ireland, and she decides to go, and she meets Finn, who is a Uber driver, a bartender, he works at a museum, and she keeps running into him. And she happens to go on Leap on February 29th, which in Dublin, Ireland, it is like okay for women to propose to men on the 29th of February, so they get married, and it's their story. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I like this one just a tiny bit better than Happy Single Days, which I've also read this month. But yes, this one's super cute. So I really enjoyed it. Um, and as I said, it comes out today. Um, Now let's get to the physical books I read. So I read Becoming the Whiskey Princess by Toni Aleo. This is book 2 in the Taking Risks series. This follows Amberlynn and Declan. This picks up right where Whiskey Princess starts or ends. And this I gave 5 out of 5 stars. It's more um, Amberlynn and Declan, they're planning their wedding and all of that. 5 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. And this was B for my A to Z challenge. So I have one of those crossed off. And this is book number 3 for my TBR, off of my TBR that I've read so far. So that's good. Yeah. Then I also read Whiskey Rebellion by Toni and Aleo. I actually finished this today. So technically I shouldn't count it in this one, but I am. So this wasn't counted in the 6 or the page count, but that's okay. I finished this today. This is book 3 in the Taking Risks series. This follows Lena, who is Declan's sister, and Jackson. And Lena was raped by her boyfriend that she thought loved her, but he's not a good guy. So there may be some trigger warnings for that. Also, a abuse and sickness of a loved one. So just be aware there may be some trigger warnings for you. But I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Lena, after the events that happen in becoming the Whiskey Princess, she goes on to travel and she meets Jackson in London, and they hook up. And when they hooked up, before they hooked up, she was telling him about her hometown. And then she gets a call from her brother and saying that her mom is sick, so she comes home, and who does she run into? Jackson. And it's their story. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. Then I read Dirty Dicks by Monica James. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. This one was okay. This is book 1 in the hard love romance. This follows Madison and Dixon. Dixon is a therapist, and Madison is like his patient, sort of. And he is between 2 different women. Like, he's sort of seeing 2 different women at the same time. And yeah, I listened to this on audio. This was the 4th audio book I read. This was the first bookworm box I've read, because I bought it off of their website. For TBR game, this was Audible Jar. I haven't mentioned that. Both Becoming the Whiskey Princess and Whiskey Rebellion. Actually, this was just A to Z challenge, and this was bought in 2018 for my Kindle TBR game. Thought I should mention that. And then this one was for just, well, sort of. The second book got chosen for TBR audio jar, but I needed to listen to this one first. And I'm okay with unhauling the physical copies of these, because I do still have them on audio and Kindle. And I may at some point listen to them, but I'm okay with unhauling the physical. So yeah. But 3 out of 5 stars. And then lastly, I read The Dead List by Juniper Armentrout. This was the 5th audiobook I listened to, and TBR book number 4. And this is a YA mystery, sort of like Scream a little bit. There is a killer on the loose in a clown mask, and it is Ella and Jensen. second chance romance. And I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. I listened to this on audio, as I said, and this was for TBR jar number 1. So, I don't want to give you too much because I feel like it's a little bit better going not knowing, but it's sort of like Scream, that there's a killer on the loose in a clown mask. So, yeah, 3.5 out of 5 stars. And those are all of the books I read this week. And yeah, what are some books? Oh, sorry. My reminders of him just got delivered by Colleen Hoover. So, um, but yes, these are all the books I read this week. What are some books you've read? And if you've read any of these, what did you think of them? And I'll see everyone later. Bye.